of 8 hours, it would last for 24 hours.
24 hours.
That was the bad thing. Usually what we did was just reloading just half of it, and then continue the trip until we could find a place where we could charge it 380 volts.
Ah, okay. Now, did you ever have anyone, when you'd pull up to a city hall or a business and said, in what Chinese you had, could we have some electricity, and they told you no?
It happened only in Europe, actually. It's very surprisingly enough. Back in Asia, they are more familiar with electrical vehicles. It may sound very weird, but you know that the first fleet of taxis is in China is electrical. In Shenzhen, they have opened a first fleet of electrical taxis.
Right. Yeah.
We are so much.
So they had heard about this then in remote Western China.
They knew that there were electrical cars, but usually it was always the first time that they could see this right in the middle of the desert of Gobi.
Right.
What is this?
Yeah.
But usually they're so nice, so hospitable, and they wanted always to help us. You know,
right.
The usual strategy we had was to stop right in the middle of the village. Usually people were so surprised and astonished by this car,
right?
With this
bright orange
color,
right? Yeah.
So they would just gather and say, "Wow, what is it? Oh, it's an electrical car. Wow, wow, wow!" And then say, "Okay, where could I put the car?" And then off they would go. We wouldn't know where they went.
Right.
And then after 5 minutes, somebody, 2 or 3, 4 people would come back and say, "Okay, we know that you're looking for electricity. Come to my home." Okay, and feel free to stay, and we'll invite you for dinner. And
wow.
So
amazing.
this was So this was, as I said, I think it reminds me of the spirit of the first, automobile expeditions.
Right. Right.
When there was a full contact with the locals.
Right.
Whereas now, you can just pass through. You just go to the gas station and then you go.
Right.
But there, with this kind of expedition, you need to get the contact. Otherwise, you're stuck.
Yeah.
So that was the other part of the adventure.
Now, did you pay them then for that electricity, or was this something that they, besides giving you a place to stay and dinner for the night, they said electricity is yours?
Usually they would say electricity is ours. They because of the hospitality, it's very amazing. I think we have lost this in our occidental civilizations, but over there it was logical. It was normal to give us whatever we wanted, but we made a point by giving compensation all the same. We didn't want people when we went back after the end of the expedition. We didn't want people to say, "Oh, they have taken advantage of the people,
our poor people."
Yeah. So that's why we wanted to give a compensation.
So what would you typically, for a night's charge at 380 volts? What would you?
Usually 380 volts would cost in France about 3 to 4 euros, which is about what, $5 to $6,
something like that. Yeah.
So we would give the equivalent of this roughly
to
these people. Sometimes it would be in the form of money, or sometimes it would be in the form of a gift, because we had T-shirts and all kind of things for the kids, and so they were very, very happy, and we were too. It was a good deal all the time. It was a good
What
deal.
was the most memorable point of the trip for you?
Most memorable trip? There's so many memorable points, but I know that there was a big problem every time we would reach a frontier, especially the one between China and Kazakhstan to Russia, and Russia to Ukraine. It was really, really hard. We have lost about 4 days altogether at the borders.
At the borders.
It was very, very, very hard.
And that was just what? Just clearing up paperwork and...
Paperwork first, and then they wouldn't understand why we would have so many spares at the back.
Yeah.
Plus the fact that the batteries look like big cubes.
Right.
And they want to know what there is inside.
Yeah, what are you smuggling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course they don't have this scanning system, of course, right in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
So they wouldn't let us go. And sometimes I remember between Kazakhstan and Russia, we spent 1 day in the no man's land between the two borders.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let us go back, and Russia wouldn't let us go. Yeah. It was so long.
So would you just sleep in the?
Well, usually we we prefer to sleep outside.
Right. So you had tent, sleeping bags.
Yeah. Well, actually, once again, if we find electricity, it means that we have had a contact with somebody.
Right.
And 99.9% of the time, we had these people inviting us at their home, and which was very, very interesting and very, very enriching experience.
Yeah. So how did you had a blog, you know, and I was following obviously the blog on that. Where do you took lots of pictures and things, I assume video, so on. So what happens to that information then? You're going to...
So as far as the blog is concerned, it's still on the internet.
Right.
Gildo and Venturi have asked us to write a few let's say a memo about the trip, a journal, you know, a road book, let's say.
Right.
And we are going to publish it within the next months.
Okay, good.
And as far as all the pictures that have been taken are concerned, as far as the photo pictures, there are going to be an awful lot of pictures in the book.
In the book, right.
And for the shootings, with the camera, the film, we're going to present a film for in film festivals, adventure film festivals.
Okay.
Yeah, within at the end of this year as well.
Yeah. When you got this vehicle, you're going to be setting out. You're not. Sometimes when people do these kinds of expeditions, there's a host of support vehicles behind them. You had no support vehicles.
Yeah.
So what were sort of your contingency plans just in case something did go wrong? Nothing went wrong, obviously, but in case, what were your contingency plans?
Then we would have stopped the trip, actually, because the idea was to prove that we could cover large distances without any assistance. That's what people need to know. Usually there is still this cliche of the electrical car being small, fragile, only being used only for city commuting. We wanted to prove that we could take a car and make a big expedition, a real one, like a normal car, and without any assistance. We would have lost credibility if we had an assistant truck or something to help us. There we have proved, and this is the most important thing, we have proved that with a normal electrical car, well, obviously we had an extra battery for the ranges, but it's reliable enough to go anywhere in the world. And what's more, what is much better than with fossil energy, we don't need to find a gas station or anything. As long as you have houses with electricity, then every home is a station, is a power station.
Yeah.
And this is the good thing about it. This is, I think, it's opening a new era of automobile expeditions, I think.
Good. So what do you do next? Your record, you drove, I think it's something like 14,000 kilometers. Within just a few months' time, the Racing Green team out of Britain drove something like 16,000 from Anchorage to the tip of South America down the Pan American Highway. So they broke your record.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do next?
We're gonna break the record again. Yeah. Hopefully, with we're still having this good relationship with Gildo, who has produced another car called Venturi America, and we're planning to do an even longer trip, which would be the longest in the world, I guess, from one cape to another.
Okay.
From the Cape of Good Hope, South Africa.
We talked about this, through Africa, across Middle East,
Asia, up to the Bering Strait of Bering, and then down the Pan American Highway, down to Cape Horn.
Cape Horn, wow. And that would be 25,000, 30,000 kilometers, I would guess. At
least, about 30 kilometers.
Wow.
30,000.
No, that's going to be an adventure. So what are you sort of targeting for that? 2012?
2012, yeah. I think 2012 would be a good idea. Yeah.
Okay.
2012, maybe 2013, I don't know yet.
Right.
Hopefully, within the next 24 months.
Very good.
It would be a good, a new departure.
Good. Well, we'll be following you on that one then when it happens.
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so.
Xavier, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Bill.